Hello, welcome to the channel and thanks for watching. And today the Death Guard are done. It's showcase time. The point of this YouTube channel, if YouTube channels can really ever be considered to have a point, is to track my hobby journey for one. Hopefully give a bit of enjoyment to people and maybe give you some tips, tricks and ideas of what you can do on your models. And I suppose what I've not really done before now is when I've finished an army, I've not really shown the whole lot. So that's what this is going to be, maybe the start of a series of when I finish an army, we'll do a hobby showcase. And it's probably a good idea to do that because over the years I've finished and sold literally hundreds of armies. When I left Games Workshop 17 years ago now, 16 years ago, I had 105 figure cases full of painted models. Since then I've done multiple armies, got rid of them, sold them when I got bored or whatever. And it's probably a good idea to track that really, because even since this channel started, I've finished and got rid of a number of armies, Necrons, Sisters of Battle, whatever, and haven't really ever done a proper showcase. So here we are. This is maybe, hopefully, one of many. And I'll talk about another video why I get rid of armies later, maybe. So let's just talk you through it. This is the army as it stands. I'll just back and show the whole shot. This is about 2,000 points when you point it out. I don't think there's any rules points revisions on Horus Heresy yet. It started off as the core of the Horus Heresy starter box that came out, which I suppose the Spartans are the first one to talk about. That was the main reason for picking up that box. Just the excitement of getting something that's bigger than a Land Raider. And I suppose it's the pinnacle of the old school Space Marine technology, you know, before we got floaty tanks and all that kind of nonsense. So this one here has been converted up. I've done some interesting sort of Death Guard symbols and things on it. So here that's cast off the round Rhino doors that come from Forge World. So this is obviously a green stuff fake that I've done. I bought the original Forge World doors to go on my 40k Death Guard. And that really is, I suppose, why I decided to do Death Guard for 30k. The idea of this could be representative of the army that turns into my 40k. And the whole army's done in a bit of a grimy, dirty kind of colour scheme. Not what you would call grimdark, but maybe somewhere in between. So transported in the Spartan, that's the idea when we game, is the 2 5-man Terminator squads. So in the box you could do all 10 of the same or split. Now I did split, so I thought it'd be interesting to do a close combat unit and a more sort of shooting unit, although with Power Fist, still very close combat. So I really like those, again, done in the dirty, sort of grimy scheme. Not super dirty, we're not going full on Nurgle, but we are doing some interesting kind of dirt washes and things. Now my painting style, if you watch it, it's not really a normal painting style, it's somewhere between. On one end you've got the, you know, typical Games Workshop style, and at the other end you've got grimdark. I probably sit somewhere in between. I do go for relatively fast colour schemes that are easy to replicate, but also, you know, a bit of fun to do and don't take a huge amount of time, but a bit more detail than what you would call real true speed painting. So these are the basic troopers. Now this is where I varied from the starter box, because Death Guard really, especially in 40k, there's a lot of Mark III armour models, and they did the Mark III set, so I got rid of the 40 Marines in Mark VI that you get in the box and replace them with these guys. These are the Mark IIIs. Again, everything I'm going to talk about here, there is a separate video on the channel for, so you can get into a bit more depth, but I just really thought it would be more appropriate to go for that. I've ended up with 20, which I think fits in nicely to the size of the army we're going for. So get them back there. So again, cast up symbols for the shoulders, taken off some 3D printed parts, some little bits of battle damage you can see there, transfers, that kind of thing. So we did that. The first thing we actually did for the army was bizarrely the Dreadnoughts. So we'll talk about these ones. This was the first Dreadnought I got for the Death Guard, and I was actually going to convert this up into a 40k Death Guard before the Horus Heresy came out. So this is the Forge World twin Volkite Contemptors, and obviously then Horus Heresy got announced that it was coming back out, and I thought, right, this is going to Horus Heresy. Now from this I took a number of castings and things and rolled that into the plastic dreads. This is the plastic one, a little bit of cast up there, the sort of voice speakery thing on there, so I've just taken a casting, taken a little piece, and some rivets off a rivet maker, so a little bit of conversions onto the plastic Dreadnought there, and really like the kind of finished effect. And again, different kind of stripings and markings on the two different dreads just to make them stand out. Second to last bit we'll talk about the army, the Predator. This is the last video I will have done on the army, because this was the finishing off of the Force. This wasn't intended to be the finishing off of the Force, the actual characters were, but they released the, what I would call the spoon lid Predator, the very old school one, which back in the day was my first marine vehicle I ever bought, and I thought I cannot resist that. Stuck it together very old school, las cannon turrets, because in the old days you didn't have Volkites and all the plasma weaponry and all those kind of things on there. So again, I like how it looks, quite a nice effect. and that's the sort of what finished the army. But I suppose really I should have left it to be finished by the characters. So the 2 characters, again, there's a video for these guys. Little bit cleaner than the main troopers. So I suppose if you look at the edging on there, if you can see them, compared to the edging of that, there's a little bit cleaner effect on these here. So you see a little bit brighter on the edging, particularly stands out on the Terminator Captain compared to the bronze on the normal troopers. Now that was actually an accident during that video where I undercoated this guy with a totally different metallic base coat through the airbrush than I did these ones. But you know what, I think it actually worked really well in that the hero of the army, I suppose, is a little bit cleaner, maybe his armor's a little bit nicer, a bit well, you know, more well cared for. So although it was an accident, I think it fits in quite well. And then I did the chaplain without the bronze edging, just did it with the silver edging, and again, because it was undercoated an aluminium colour, yeah, looks quite nice there with some of the details. So that's the Force, really. I suppose that showcase, hopefully you found it interesting. This was more for me, really, in that I can look back at some point and remember the army that I've done, and be something I will do going forward, because again, as I said, I have a terrible habit of selling armies when I've done them and I've got a bit bored with them. Not that I'm ever bored with an army as such, but I know I'll move on to the next project, and then that'll go in a case. And I suppose over the number of years I got so used to having tons and tons of cases in the garage. Once eBay came around, it was a case of, right, we'll make some more money and go on to the next project. So yeah, this is project finished. I don't imagine I'm going to expand on this ever, and this may go the way of eBay and this may get sold, probably more than likely, because now I've got it out, it'll be dead easy to take pictures of it. Again, partly because we're not really playing Horus Heresy. I am more of a 40k boy. I do love the Horus Heresy game, but the guys I play with, a couple of different groups of people, haven't really got into it. And I think sometimes that's how your hobby gets led. It gets led by the people that you game with. So yeah, there we go. This is the showcase of the army. I hope you liked that. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, all that YouTube jazz, and I'll see you on another video.